Is watching too much TV bad for your brain? It's a question that has many of us wondering, especially as we spend more and more time in front of the screen. But what does the science say? Let's dive in and explore the findings of a recent study that's making waves in the world of brain health. First things first, the study found that people who reported watching television more often in midlife had smaller brain volumes decades later in areas involved in language and thinking. This is a big deal, as these areas are crucial for cognitive function and are particularly vulnerable to changes associated with Alzheimer's disease. But what's really interesting is that the study also found a contrast between television viewing and sitting at work. While sedentary activity at work wasn't linked to the same brain changes, watching television was. So, what's the difference? Well, in my opinion, it's all about the level of engagement. Watching television is a passive activity, where viewers are primarily receiving information rather than actively processing it. On the other hand, sitting at work often involves very different mental demands, such as responding to emails, working on projects, and interacting with colleagues. This raises a deeper question: does cognitive engagement play a role in protecting the brain? The study doesn't prove that mentally stimulating activities protect the brain, but it does fit with a growing body of research suggesting that cognitive engagement helps reduce the risk of dementia. In fact, previous studies have found differences between passive sedentary behaviors, such as television watching, and more mentally active ones, including solving puzzles and being mentally engaged during work. Now, let's talk about the limitations of the study. It's important to note that this was an observational study, which means it can identify associations but cannot establish cause and effect. It's possible that people who watched more television differed from those who watched less in ways the researchers couldn't fully account for, despite adjusting for many factors. It's also possible that subtle changes in brain health influence people's habits years before the MRI scans were performed. Still, the study was well conducted and followed participants for more than 2 decades, which makes its findings all the more compelling. So, should we swear off watching TV? In my view, the key takeaway is to think about how much time is spent in passive screen-based activities and what those activities may be replacing. If several hours of television or scrolling through social media are taking the place of exercise, in-person social interactions, reading, or other mentally stimulating activities, that's not ideal for brain health. But that doesn't mean we should stop all screen consumption. Watching a sporting event, following a favorite show, or going to a movie can be fun and relaxing, and these pastimes help us connect with family and friends, which is good for our health on many levels. The important thing is to find a balance. For example, participating in an online language class, where you're learning a new skill and actively communicating with others, engages the brain differently than passively watching TV shows or mindlessly scrolling through internet content. And it's always a good idea to avoid sitting for long, uninterrupted periods by getting up periodically to stretch and walk around. So, what are some evidence-based ways to protect brain health as we age? Regular physical activity is one of the strongest interventions supported by research. So is controlling blood pressure, treating chronic conditions such as diabetes, avoiding smoking, limiting excessive alcohol use, getting enough sleep, and maintaining a healthy weight. A Mediterranean-style eating pattern, rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, fish, and healthy fats, has also been associated with better brain health. Staying socially connected is essential, as is treating hearing loss, depression, and other factors that can prevent people from spending time with loved ones. No single activity can guarantee protection against dementia, but the combination of everyday choices, including how we spend our leisure time, can add up over the course of decades. So, the next time you're tempted to binge-watch your favorite show, remember that moderation is key. And if you're looking for ways to protect your brain health, consider incorporating more mentally stimulating activities into your routine, such as reading, solving puzzles, or learning a new skill. After all, Our brains are like muscles. They need regular exercise to stay strong and healthy. So, what do you think? Is watching too much TV really bad for your brain? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful content on health and wellness.